BTB listeners, thank you so much for checking out today's episode. Listen, if this episode inspires you, do me a favor, take 5 seconds to shoot me a like and subscribe to the podcast. There are several more exciting guests that are in the pipeline, and I just can't thank you enough for your continued support, and let's keep paying the mission forward. Let's get into it. In today's episode, we are diving into the first part of a 6-week series around your comeback. Each one of these segments is specific to the stepping stones that it takes to make the comeback of your life. Have you felt weighed down by difficult circumstances recently? Have you had a tough hardship or feel like you're stuck in a rut and looking for ways to get out? Through this 6-week series, we're going to dive into exactly what you need to foundationally hit the ground running, to come back from those difficult circumstances, and to become the strongest version of yourself and what you're built to be. Today's first topic is around change. And it was a situation in my life where I found out that doing 98% of the things right and having 2% still be something that I was holding on to that was holding me back, that it was the 2% that took away from all of the joy and satisfaction of what I was doing in my life. This episode dives into some personal circumstances that I've recently faced and want to share with you as the listener to help you face your 2%.
Don't be afraid of the dark. Be careful with stars. Not every light is gonna guide you, baby.
Welcome to the BTB Project, designed to empower listeners to identify their why and to live their best lives no matter the circumstances. My name is Kollman Gearhart. A former athlete and motivational coach, I've had the opportunity to inspire thousands through my story and help accomplish what they are built to be. You'll be encouraged by each and every episode, and let's get into it.
Yeah, when I blow up, I'ma soar high like Peter Pan. In real life, be living all my dreams. If I'm waking up, it's in a foreign land.
In today's BTB episode, I'm excited to dive into the art of change, the ultimate comeback. A lot of times in our life, you're going to be faced with a certain level of adversity, difficult circumstances, things that are out of your control. And over these next few weeks, I'm going to dive into some topics that I've taken on personally. And my goal is to share some of those personal circumstances along with really the facts behind how we can optimize these opportunities in our life where it almost seems, doom and gloom, that you don't see an end in sight of the difficult circumstance that you're facing. But ultimately, with a comeback, we have several different options. And those options are really in our control. One of the best quotes or pieces of advice that I've ever gotten when it comes to our responsibility in life is that everything is your fault. Now, it's kind of an extreme as I mention that, but let's break it down contextually when it comes to back against the wall, overcoming the odds, and making a comeback. And how does having that mindset actually set us up where we need to be to have the bounce back? The quote essentially is piercing because we often want to point the finger and put blame on all of the situations around us that got us to the point of where we want to make a comeback or our backs against the wall. And these moments, hopefully, will put you in a opportunity of reflection. So if everything's your fault, imagine there was this really bad car crash with your family, and that car crash ended up taking their life. Absolutely horrible situation. You weren't in the car. You weren't in the situation to really do much about it. But what if I told you that situation was your fault? You'd probably look at that and be like, Coleman, that doesn't make any sense. No, I wasn't driving the car, I wasn't part of it. But ultimately, every small decision that we make, what if we start living in a way to where we take unprecedented accountability for our lives? Now, personally, I've struggled with this. I've been a hypocrite because I've often lived my life based off of being really proud of getting things right well above 98% of the time. What I've learned over the last few months is that it's the 2% where I'm not getting it right, where I have insecurities and self doubt, where I go deep down into the trenches of my soul and realize I'm the problem. I'm the one that's causing this self inflicted harm to myself emotionally. It's hurting loved ones and family. So, when it comes to a comeback in your life, step one in this process that I want to dial in on today is you have to be willing to change. Change is a word that I've often embraced. It's a word that I've kind of hung up on my pedestal of accomplishments because I've made a lot of changes in my life. I've seen situations that weren't the deck of cards that I wanted to be dealt, but I figured out a way based off of those circumstances to optimize it. Whether it was my childhood, how I was growing up, losing significant weight, overcoming addiction, watching my mom pass away at 20 years old, watching other relatives pass away really young, emotional and physical abuse. But I want to go back to that 2% for just a second because as much as I thought I was in a place where I've overcome all of the demons that I've faced in my life, there was one particular one that I wasn't quite sure how to process. And when it comes to you as the listener, this is the first step to getting to that point of knowing where to make a change because you're being 100% transparent with yourself. You're taking ownership to align with your belief system, to know your strengths and weaknesses, and to have a level set foundation of how to take the next step in your life. So, what was it for me? What was the 2% that held me back in such a way that I've done a lot of extraordinary things, but I was always capped based off of what I was letting on the inside still fester, still grow, still have a meaning and purpose when it really didn't define me. Ultimately, isn't who I am today. So why would I let it bother me so much? Well, the truth is, as I mentioned in a previous episode, I am a survivor of sexual abuse. I was in a situation when I was about 10 years old, visiting some family out in Tennessee where my grandparents lived. And it was my two cousins that molested me. Now, when I say those words out loud, I typically cringe because it's such an awful word. And in my line of work as a coach, I've actually dealt with people that have gone through very similar things that I have. And I'm constantly encouraging them and allowing them to find the best version of themselves despite feeling absolutely horrible about themselves or what happened to them. And the truth is that 2% that I was holding on to in my life was me unwilling to face that it actually happened. I had a really weird trigger emotion a few years back that actually flashed me back right into that situation when I was 10. And it was the worst possible feeling in the world. I felt betrayed. I was really upset with other family members in my life because I wanted to know why I was ever put in a situation where that could happen to me. So as I've taken ownership of this deep, dark, like demon in my life, there's been a few things that have happened. One is I didn't let the understanding of this trauma continue to fuel me. A lot of times when people have bad things that happen to them, they want to have their comeback be almost in a way to prove people wrong or to rub it back in their face, to do it kind of more out of resentment or bad attitude, to snap out of difficult circumstances. That's not the way to approach it. My advice to you is based off of whatever that deep, dark rooted insecurity is, that you actually get close to it. You draw closer to it with your faith. You try to go at it clear and concise mentally and say, this is not something that defines me. This is not something that I'm going to carry the same way anymore. Let's face it, these types of circumstances aren't just brushed under the rug and go away. There's something that are going to stay with you for the rest of your life. But the context of how we're handling those situations is absolutely step one when it comes to your comeback and change. It's this 2% that I've focused on that is 98% success that I've had, and it's skyrocketed my trajectory and my day-to-day success because I don't have anything holding me back anymore. All the times I was proud of that 98% of all of the things that I've done right or the people that I've helped, accolades, the recognition, whatever it may be. Underneath all of that was a guy that was just trying to prove people wrong, trying to, through resentment, overcome the odds and have a comeback that's not based out of love or forgiveness. And it got me to only a certain aspect of where I'm at in my life today. So, in order to grow and to truly become the strongest version of yourself and to be what you are built to become, it takes an even playing field of acknowledging who you are, who you aren't, and how you're going to leverage that moving forward. A comeback always starts with change. Nothing will improve or be different without a true understanding of stepping out of your comfort zone and doing things differently than you have before. Change is not hard. Change is not some revolutionary concept that takes an astrophysicist to show you on a chalkboard that's 1,000,000 miles long on how to make a change. A change is between you and yourself and making a decision that this is what you're going to do. That's why that even set of your emotions, of the trauma in your life, that you come to terms with it so that you have a foundation that as things get hard again, on the total opposite end of the spectrum, things are going to get hard because you're trying to do something with your life. You're getting uncomfortable. You're going after that new job. You're trying out for that sports team. You're pursuing those relationships that might have made you feel introverted at times, but now you're ready to go after it. You're putting yourself out there. Getting to a point foundationally where you believe in yourself. It's absolutely critical for your first step to making a comeback. So what has happened in my life since taking those steps of vulnerability into the open with something that I hid, that I didn't want to come to terms with, that I didn't want to face because it wasn't important for me to do that I could seriously will myself away from that trauma into making changes and having a productive, positive life. And I want this to settle in for you as the listener. The moment I brought that to the surface and I faced it and I said, God, this doesn't define me. This isn't my identity. This is not the conclusion. This is not the last chapter of the book. This is the beginning. And through that confidence, every day, a stepping stone that I haven't been able to put my foot on before because I never allowed myself, based off of that limiting belief and difficult circumstance, I never let that step actually show up in my life. I was really good at focusing on the 98%, but it was overcoming the 2% that has allowed me to be the most complete, honest, vulnerable, and unbelievably passionate and driven and motivated person that I've ever been. Part of making a comeback is eliminating the weeds, the deep rooted issues deep down inside of us. Are you willing to take that on? Are you willing to have it be actually a strength? All of us have those weeds that we have to weed out of the garden in order for the garden to grow. You are capable of your comeback with that type of foundation. Is it going to happen overnight? Probably not. Once you bring those things to the surface, is it just going to make your life miraculously change in a flip of a switch? Probably not. What I will tell you it will do is it will allow you to live in a way that you were designed to live. All of those burdens, insecurities, difficult circumstances, all of those things were forgiven and placed at the foot of the cross long before we became human beings. There's a love and a sacrifice that happened for us that washed all of those things away. So, how often are we tapping into that? Step one for a comeback in your life is making a change and embracing that change with your new attitude and to see it as an opportunity to think different about yourself and others and your relationship with God. Stay committed to the process, no matter how long it takes, because this is the best way to live your life. I guarantee it. I'm here to support you. This built to be community is here to support you. These are the types of changes that not will just impact you, but it's going to impact a whole lot of other people. I'm on mission to make sure people understand that. You are the one that controls the opportunity to do something extraordinary. Tap into your faith, attack that 2% with everything you have, and watch the fruit of your garden grow. Listen, if this BTB episode inspired you, do me a favor, like and subscribe to the BTB Project. I got 5 more of these coming at you. This is again about overcoming the odds on the journey of your comeback after feeling like you've just hit a wall, like you're not able to go any further. I'm excited to tap into the next one, which we're going to dive into regrets. But step one is always going to be make that change. Because at the end of making that change is somebody that platform wise is going to go do something great. As always, I'm proud of each and every one of you. And until next time, take care.